So we would continue with what we have to do. So this is how far we've come, and we're actually making a lot of progress. Yeah, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to work on the other part. So to work on that part, we would have to extend our frame. So we're going to drag the frame downwards this way. Right, this way we'll be able to work on the other part. So turn on our grids, and then now we'll extend this. Just move it this way. All right, all of this would be at the middle. So I'm going to group it and center it at the middle, and then ungroup it. These ones would be where they are, right? And this one also at the middle, right? So on this other part, we're going to delete all of this. We don't need the grid anymore for now. Just turn that off to avoid having the distractions, and we'll just bring this way. All right, move that upward a bit, bring this and take that to the top. Sorry about that, can't quite see my stuff, so just use the ruler and we can now continue. So we're going to type in San Francisco. Right, San Francisco, and then for this other part we're going to type meet us at Pier 48, and then there's no body text for this one, so we'll get rid of that. We'll get rid of this line as well. We'll drag that line, we don't need it there anymore. We'll drag it this way, right, and just put it that way, and then we'll draw a line inside here, we're touching the end, and we can move that upward. We'll just bring it this way, select this other one. First off, ungroup this, select this and ungroup it as well, then select the top one, bring that this way, and we can type full schedule coming soon. All right, that is on bold. Break this and give that semi bold. Right, let's find an image that is similar to this. So go to for the background, and we can search for the image. Just search for, let's say we search for Pier 48. Let's see if that exists. Not so much of what we want, but I think the first one can do justice to the design for us. Let's see how that pans out with spacing at the top for the text to shine. Yeah, I think that works for us. Right, select this and I'll close this out. Right, that actually works for us. Change this to white, but remember the pair is based on the location, that's a venue, so but we'll be using this for ours. Select this, make that white as well, and then drop the opacity to about, let's use 20. So I've dropped the opacity to 20, and that is done. Get rid of that, we don't need that anymore. Now we have our design aligned on the grid 6 by 6. Right, we're making a lot of progress. We'll take this out, we don't need this anymore. even though we need to add like details to this shape. We'll just find something similar to this to add to the shape. Let's go to Unsplash and see if we can find 3D elements in that line. Should be able to see something almost similar. Okay. So finding there's no texture that can save us for now, so we're going to just leave that way for now. Let me see if this one would work. Right, do this and see. Doesn't. Let's see if I give it a different blend. It doesn't work, so we'll close that out and let's leave that text that way for now and get rid of that top. So we're done with the second part. It's now time for the next part. Right, so obviously we'd have to extend this, bring it down this way, bring it down some more, select this, drag it down some more, and we can have this one. So the first thing I'm going to do is to draw this one. So draw a frame, and remember, whatever you use, keep it consistent, and I'm talking about the radius. So I'm going to use 15 for the radius. I'm going to hide it and give it a stroke of the gradient, make that thick so that I can see the borders very well. Right, go into this design, grab those stuff, bring it this way. I brought it that way so that it will align with where this other one is. Type in CUIN. I'll leave it like that. Choose white, and this line would run this way. Choose white for that as well. Reduce the opacity to 40. Let's see how that looks. 40 is perfect for what I want to use it for, and then we can now play around this other one. So I'll type 18. I'll choose the biggest text and then break it and use a scale tool to have something similar to that this way. Right, make that bold, push it in a bit, select this, days. I'm going to use the body text, still type in days, break it, make that the semi-bold version of it. Let's see, so that's too much. Let's have 16. Let's have it in 16, and I'm going to choose the color they've used, something in this line. Right, select both of them, put them in auto layout, adjust them accordingly. I'll select this one, use the vertical trim. Alright, I like that. The vertical trim does a nice job. Then push this downwards by 26. You know what, make that 25, and I'll duplicate it, type in 03 and hours. Right, select both of them, put them in auto layouts, duplicate again, type 88 minutes. Right, select everything, and that would be it. Extend it. Let's see if the first one flows. Yeah, so extend it so we can have that proximity. I like to get the numbers in the right way, so awesome. Now we're going to draw something here. I'm going to draw this inside of this frame. Yeah, like this. Yeah, so we're going to do this, and that is because this particular one is going to have multiple colors. So I'll duplicate this and I'll type 4 and this 4. I'll put it this way, 4 and 0. So it's going to be 4 and 0, but let me see, 40. Let's see how we break the other part. So it's inside of this one. I'll select this background color, and that's it. I'll duplicate this and move it out of the frame. Now it's on the other side, and then I'll give it the text color, not the text color actually, subtext color. Send it to the back, send it to the back, draw this kind of eye stuff, give it that color, do it for this part as well, draw it this way. Okay, so that will be the same color, so we don't have too much colors going around. I'll constrain this to the right, and I'll duplicate it, delete one of it, select the other one, constrain it to the left, select it, delete other part. Now this will be O, and then the O will come downwards this way. Let's move it slightly inside a bit, right click, frame it, and then move the frame upward, and then clip content. Okay, that is more like it. And then we can have the seconds, so break that to 24. Let's see if that works. Seconds. For the seconds, I would use the label text. Alright, and label text is 18. Let's use nav text, break that, make that medium, and then 15, 16. 16 worked. Right, we have that. Select this and make the background white. Right, so we have this text now. Move that downwards. Let's see what we can do to it. So select this and this and this, move it to the right a bit, something like that, and we have that. Now on this other end, I'm going to draw a circle. I'm going to draw a circle. I'm going to give it a gradient color, something like this, send it to the back, and then effects, layer blur, and blur that out. Then reduce the size of the blur value like that. Take out a stroke from this entire thing, remove the stroke. That's what we were aiming for. Alright, and now we can take that back into our file. So all I need to do is check out what's the size spacing between them. space between them is 18, so I'm going to get rid of this and put this into here. With that, I can send it up. Just come to the spacing between them and type 18. You know what, I'm going to make my 20, or this between these two is 24, so I'm going to make these two 24. So I'll make it 24, and then I would extend this to the end like that. Let me see the spacing in there. It's not so much of space. I'll move this in a bit, extend this a bit, select this and this and this, this and this, and move them. No, like this, this, and this. Move them out, something like this. Select this one and this one. Move it kind of out like this. Like this two and this one, and yep, we're done. Attention to details. So pay attention to the details of your design. So because these two are 24 in spacing, I made this 24 as well, so it conforms with what we're designing. Follow through with our design results. So the next part is this part, the label part, right? So what are we going to do with this? Just move it into our design. I'm going to click on this, reduce this to this part, select this. I'm going to grab this one, 24, send it to the back. Right, I don't need the text, I don't need these images. I'm going to use the image of the lady. I think that's one of the founding members. And then type in talks, right, talks, and this other one. So we're going to select this, move it downwards, select this, duplicate it, right, and we can now have this text coming. So this text is going to select both of these, auto layout. This is how I realign things. Send it to the top, select both of them, break it, and delete this one. I don't need it anymore. So this would be ingredients, the last gradient we created. Yeah, perfect. And we don't need this, we don't need those anymore. Break this, bring it in a bit this way. I'm actually going to correct some things that do not need correction, but I don't like the colors. So AM, I just wrote AM, 9 AM, and this is going to be in a frame, in this frame, right, drag this down here, and this other one down here as well. So frame will be here and here, move it in a bit, and I'm going to make that frame, I'm going to make it a secondary. Let me see how that will look like, centered horizontally and vertically. Let's see what that will look like in its own gradient. Break that, make that 10, and then I'll make this 8 or 4. Let's make that 4 and get rid of our grids. Yeah, I like it better, right? And then we can type the other text, kind of lock them in. Select both of them, put it in auto layout now, delete this, duplicate this one, and type in opening key notes. Right, yeah, better. Hide the other stuff, select this, bring it down a bit. Let's see where this starts from. Cool. Powering growth for the internet economy. Break this, make it medium, and bring in our text from here. Let's bring it into here. Use the ruler again, right? Then we'll draw this line. Okay, let's go grab that text, powering growth. So grab that text, select this, paste it, and that means this will be smaller, so we're going to make that 16. 1 2 3 4 5 6, 1 2 3 4 5 6. Break that, make it irregular, then give it that line spacing. Let's make that medium, right? Yeah, so that's more like it. Okay, so guys, I'll see you in the next lesson.